Well, the first thing, let's call the meeting to order.
Gotta wait for Susie.
There you are, right there. Well, it's a little after 7, so let's call this meeting to order and start with a pledge to the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
and
to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And if the chair was here, he'd say to close your telephones, sign in on the back sheet. Exits are on both sides and in the back. And also on the table are a copy of the resolutions. And if you have a discussion with each other, it'd be better to go out in the hallway. And we usually try to have one person talk at a time and not use, well, if you go this way or that way, it'd be better to say if you could go north or south for directions on the record. It's a lot more sensible later. So the first thing, let's have a motion to approve the minutes of the last meeting.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Thank you. Public hearing is open. The first item is Eric Ferrari, 7195 Phyllis Road. Shed a little closer to the lot line than code allows. I was up there this morning, and it appeared that the edge of the shed is eight or so feet from the line. Is that right?
Correct.
The string is the line.
Yes,
You decided not to turn it, though.
correct.
So now you're asking for a variance to be 8 feet away from the sideline
Well, to be
instead of 15,
Be
which is
precise,
an improvement over what it was, 4.
correct. But the correct dimension is 6 feet.
Six
Yes,
off?
my father,
Okay, I was just guessing.
yeah, my father and I measured out, when we did exactly 6 feet. Just want to,
I was there the first time.
Thank you.
So we have a shed that shows 6 feet from the lot line.
correct. As you see on the photo here, as we laid out our pins to show the property line, and then 6 feet away in the edge of the shed, and then we have a 20 foot by 16 foot deep shed. The back wall would basically be buried with, you will not see the back elevation or the side. You'll see a little bit, but there'll be a black wall going up and a black wall going on the side, and then we would basically see a garage door and a window facing the house.
Mm-hmm. You really went after that hill, didn't you?
Yes, sir. Again, we were trying to expand the backyard to
Yes,
make it a little bit bigger.
It's more like 80 feet from the shed to the back of the house now, or something like that, 70? A lot more than the drawing would show.
Correct, yes. This drawing would have to be modified, showing the correct distance. Well, basically, the shed will be over 6 feet away from the property line there, and then you're 40 foot one setback from the back property line.
You didn't want to turn it to have the 16 feet perpendicular to the lot line, which would set it off the lot line a little further? You didn't want to do that?
Well, we don't want to do that because the garage door would be going against the hill. So again, imagine we're cutting out the side of the hill and the shed's fitting on the sides. Basically, garage door won't be accessible to go on the east side. So that's basically, we put the shed right at the front, where it's nice and flat, even with the backyard.
Does anybody have any questions?
No, what did you say the rear was going to be? How many feet off the lot line?
41 feet?
That was my only
It
question.
can't be 41 feet if the front of it's 6.
Well, our,
The back?
yes, from the back
Oh,
property
is it
line.
41 feet from the
From the
shed to the back
property,
line?
yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay.
So based on the comments from the last meeting, the only modification you made was move it in 2 feet.
Correct.
Did you move the pool at all?
Basically, I would move the pool a little bit closer, put it center in front of the patio, so I would basically move it closer to the shed.
No, I'm asking if you are moving the pool at all based on our comments that we had at the last meeting. Because we talked about the fact that the pool is not there currently, and you're basing this shed location on something that is potential future, but does not currently exist. So my question is, did you move the pool over?
To make room for the shed to slide away from the,
Or did you
Side
just
lot.
move the shed in 2 feet?
Basically, I just moved the shed in 2 feet, and I didn't move the pool yet, but I can move the pool. Again, we are trying to create a flat backyard. We're really fighting against that hill, and we have a good backyard now, basically making it all flat for the future pool and having a flat backyard instead of the house fighting against the grade in the hill. But yes, I can move the pool.
how far do you think you could move it in a, what direction is it that takes it to the right? How far could you move it? To the east, would that be?
Mm-hmm.
How far could you go, do you think? Because the shed could follow it right along, couldn't it?
Yeah, but then the shed would be in the middle of the backyard. We wouldn't have a backyard. So again, if I move the pool to the right, then at least would have a little backyard behind the covered porch. So you're trying, I'm not trying to kill the whole backyard.
Well, the
So if
back,
they decide to do a future pool or put a pool in next year, I will pin it to the right and then have a backyard for the kids to play or the dogs. And then the shed would be pinched towards the property line. Again, the whole point of this is creating this backyard in the future pool when it happens.
backyard is a lot bigger than it shows there.
I know, because doesn't show the topo lines. So again, it's a 2D drawing,
Yeah.
so it does look deceiving.
Are you open to trying to slide it over some more, or you want to call it a halt and we'll vote on it? Sarah, did you get all your questions in?
So, but I'm also going to just make a quick comment. Because we are a board of 3 tonight, if we were to vote tonight and you don't get all of us saying yes, that's where you'll run into an issue.
It doesn't hurt to try, and then I can come back.
You
So
can't.
we're,
If we deny you tonight, you could not come back for the same variance.
So you might want to table it.
My suggestion is do something a little more and come back, table it for tonight. And come back with a little more clearance from the side yard. If you don't want to, that's up to you. But at least if you came back, you'd probably have full board of 5.
that's a little unfair, but I guess we'll table it. 'Cause I really don't want to lose per 6 foot if you requested 8 foot. And again, the sheds keep going into the backyard.
Well, to us, cutting it in half is quite a big step, and that's about what we'd be.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't seem it to you maybe, but it does to us.
Okay. So let's table it, and then I will provide new drawings for 8 feet away from the property line and moving the pool,
Yeah,
and then showing the little backyard space that we have.
put the backyard in the way it is, further into the hill.
Remember what day would he be coming back?
September 6th is the next meeting. That's a Tuesday.
We're meeting every,
It's not a Monday, it's a Tuesday because of the holiday,
Every
just so
2
you
weeks.
know, okay?
All right, thank you.
it is kind of a tough lot back there, isn't it?
Uh-huh.
The hill.
So I would have to get 4 votes out of, would have to get everybody to say
No,
yes?
simple
or-
majority,
Okay, so it would have been on,
3 out of 5.
mm-hmm. Well, all right, thank you.
All right. Well, the next item is the Eric Barber residence for, Oh, sorry, Chris. 1425 Route 444. And you're pushing the side yard as well.
Oh yeah, I got a big hill, same thing.
And there's a dimension, an important dimension on the drawing that I can't read. And it's how far the deck is from the side yard.
Oh, the proposed,
Yeah, it's not,
it's probably gonna be around the 5 feet.
it's not that drawing. Is there another drawing, Sue? Yeah, that's it. Where did I see that dimension to the side yard? Oh, yes, there it is. Where is it on that drawing?
He says the lower right.
Oh, this one says clearly 6 feet. The copy I had before, I couldn't read.
Oh,
This must be a different drawing in some respects.
they asked for an updated one for
Oh.
a better, more of a close-up.
Well, tell us what you're up to.
So my father-in-law wants to buy the grandkids a pool, so I'm putting in a pool. Similar to the last gentleman, I live on a giant hillside. I brought in 30 loads of dirt already, just to try to make a flat area. So kind of where I'm asking right now is the best place I can put the pool. On the other side of the house is the sewer and septic lines. And if it went right in front of the house, you would walk right out into it. There'd be no way to kind of work around it to make it look nice.
The side lot line is horizontal in that drawing on the wall.
Yeah, it kind of actually cants a little bit where the right side of the drawing would be downward,
And the dotted line is the
just a property line.
edge of the property.
Yeah.
And the pool's 6 feet.
Yeah, I think it's probably gonna be more, but I was just trying to be a little more conservative. But I think it's gonna be probably closer to 7, maybe 8 feet. So I kinda just wanted to have a little bit of cushion, because I haven't been able to talk to the actual excavator who's gonna install it, because they're so backed up right now. Because their estimate has already came and passed from, and I haven't even gotten a phone call from the gentleman.
So this is an above-ground pool,
Correct.
24 round?
Yep. Yep. And so on the hillside there, it slopes down from
Yes,
the top level all the
I
way
did
down.
see
So
that.
it's very steep.
Substantially
Yeah,
down.
so
Yeah.
it's very unusable, kind of how it is right now. So that's kind of why I thought if I have a elevated pool at the bottom, I'd have a pretty low deck, and it would make it usable in an otherwise unusable area.
So you said you brought in all this dirt, so how, in comparison to your neighbors, did you do anything close to the property line with all the dirt? Did it raise?
So I stayed probably a few more feet away, and it went towards the slope of our property,
Okay.
because both of our houses are on the
Is on
same
that hill?
hillside.
Yeah.
And when the builders did it, they graded it to the middle of the property line.
Water
So
runs.
the water runs down from the road, because we're both kind of set down from the road as well, and slopes down to the middle, and then it, unfortunately for the golf course, drains onto them.
So that's not a recent thing, that's when the house was built?
The house was built, that's how it originally was, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, there's more of a slope now, just because we had to raise it,
Okay.
but that's how it originally was, sloping towards the center. I added in more drainage when I did it. We did gutter runoff, so that goes out to the front of my lawn, and then there's a basin at the bottom. There's a walkout door underneath the existing covered deck.
Well, now I see the dimension that I thought was the working dimension that I couldn't read, and that is from the edge of the deck to the sideline, not the pool.
Right.
How far is that? Is that a 3 or a,
No, I think
Ooh.
I got 5 on there.
is it 5?
Yeah, 5, but again, I think it's probably gonna be, well, down at the bottom, it'll probably be more than that, because like I said, the property line kind of skews, so I went kind of, little more on, I just wanted to make sure I had room.
Problem's gonna be if we do pass your variance, we need exact numbers, not kind of, so we would
Correct.
need you to talk to
Yep,
your
so
husband.
I tried to get a survey done, but
Okay.
same thing, they're out so far.
For one, too, I get it.
They're weeks out. I talked to a guy, he said the best he could do was probably 3 weeks.
Okay.
So, I mean,
Do
and that
you-
was a
They
week
have to go
ago,
to the
so.
county planning board because they're on a state route.
Yes,
So is it in yet or is it not gone yet?
it has not. They're going to county on September 14th. So the next meeting after that would be September 19th.
September 19th, so that maybe would give you a little bit more time to get all that in place
Okay.
because that's really what we need
Yeah, I mean,
to-
really, my plan is if 5 gets approved, I'm staying, I'll have the 5 feet, which is gonna be the top of the deck.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's gonna get wider as it gets closer towards the pool.
So when would he be coming back next after the county meeting?
September 19th.
September 19th, okay.
Going to 5 feet is kind of a big ask for
Yeah,
us.
I don't really have a good place to put it. Because I would have liked to add storage and all sorts of other stuff as well. But being on the hillside, I am either right in front of a door or a window or just straight hillside. It's been quite the challenge.
What's immediately adjacent to this in terms of the neighbor's property?
So from our property
use it?
line, she's probably 40 to 50 feet to her house. So we have a good amount of land in between us. I think each of our lots is about an acre, I think.
So this is,
Was that the other one that was up there
I
at
don't,
first?
this, so this is you, right?
Yep.
So your pool, can you just draw me a kind of a circle where it's going to be so we
This
know what
one
neighbor we're
here.
talking to about?
I think is actually over more this line, where this dark line is down through here.
Mm-hmm.
That's more where it is. So where currently the little playground is,
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna put the pool there. Playground's gonna shift down, we're gonna have to turn it sideways, because right there is
So could you kind of draw a circle so Fred can, we can all see kind of how far away that house is from?
From where I'm estimating.
He's asking about how far, we're asking where the neighbor, what they have over here.
Oh, it's
Okay.
it's all grass right there. There's
That-
nothing
Yeah, we just
outside.
want you to kind of draw the pool where it's going to
Oh,
be, so
gotcha,
that,
gotcha, okay.
so we can see that there's nothing there.
Is the neighbor okay with you
So
doing
This
this?
is my neighbor Lisa, and she's not crazy about the idea.
She can have a chance to speak.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
spoke to her.
Yeah, no. That's okay. That'll just give us a general idea when we're looking at what is there and what's not there. Okay, thank you.
I think I did have,
Was that deck 26 by 36 feet
what's that?
deck?
Again, that was an estimate with me and a tape measure.
Sure.
I gave room for,
Really a big deck.
yeah, I gave room for some space at the end of the driveway, probably for like a flower bed, couple feet for a retaining wall, and then go into the deck that way. And still leave me enough room for the kids to get around the playground.
I have a feeling that you're going to have to move the pool over,
Okay?
far as you can stand. Whatever you can think of. Speaking for my vote.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I can probably get a few more feet before I start getting into elevation issues and whatnot again.
It would be in well, towards the, so the pool is more centered in the lot rather than over by
Right,
the
so
edge.
once I get into the house, that's when I get into all my windows and stuff, and then I'm gonna be blocking the front of the house, and being an above-ground pool, then I'm just gonna be looking at deck.
Well, I think you should try to move it away from the side lot.
Okay?
Because unfortunately, are you on
And you've got,
public water?
you got room, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yep.
You got room there. You got room on the other side,
Yeah, I'm
seems
just,
like, you know.
yeah, I'm
somehow.
just going to then be running into how I can tie it into the house nicely. Because right now, where I'm planning on it, I can come out of the covered deck portion onto the deck, and then from there, I can also go down to the lower level of the house. So it'll give me access to both, where the other way, I'm not going to, I can obviously get from the ground there, but I'm not really going to be able to tie it in nicely. So it's also very much kind of making it a cleaner project instead of kind of just a thrown together, not so nice looking thing.
Sarah, you got any questions?
Well, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
So technically, the deck can be 5 feet from your property line.
Okay.
So have you thought about trying to move the pool over and maybe, because you won't need a variance if you put the deck on that side opposed to the pool.
I did not know that. I thought it was just the pool.
Deck counts as, the deck counts as structure, so the 15-foot setback also applies.
So I would need the variance for the deck as well.
Correct.
Right. So that's what I was told, if I included the future deck now in this variance, it would kind of go both together
Correct.
instead of doing two separate. Am I understanding that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have an issue, and you probably heard me say it with the applicant prior to you, is that we're talking about future. Nothing exists right now. So we have the opportunity to make one of these items code compliant. And right now, everything's future-based. So you could make your pool code compliant, you could make your deck code compliant. Therefore, you're only asking for one variance. A deck doesn't have to sit on the ground. A deck can be built up to a certain level. So the fact that your yard maybe slopes down, to me, you can't really use that as an excuse for the deck because you can build it to where you want it to be. You can build it up to the grade that you need it to be.
Right, yeah, that's,
So I'm just saying that you could potentially follow code if you changed your plan just a little bit. Because your deck can be built
by
up.
moving it closer towards the
But your
house
deck can
from
be
the,
built up to an elevation that you would like it to be at.
right, that's kind of what I'm not sure if I'm
Well, because you slope down in the back.
correct, yep.
So technically, this can all shift over. Your deck can move to the other side,
To the other side of the house altogether,
the other side of the pool.
so in front of the house,
No, this is the road. This is the road here.
correct, yep,
This is your pool.
yep.
So technically, the deck can shift,
Just on the other side, okay,
and you can build it up to the elevation that you want it to be at.
right. I just liked it on the other side, because then I could get to it a lot easier from the house.
I understand that, and it makes sense, but I'm just, because we as a board have to grant the minimum relief necessary. So this is just the way I'm looking at it, because everything's future, nothing's there. If you had one or the other, then I think it would be a different situation. But
Right.
because you have neither and you're asking for both, that's where I run into an issue. So that's just my looking at it.
Okay,
Well, I mean, we can't
But
make a
it's
decision
gonna
tonight
be-
anyway, because we have to wait for county comment.
right. But wouldn't it be the same thing, though, if it's on one side or the
You'd
other?
only need a variance for your pool at that point.
Because your deck would be on the other side, it would not need a variance. It's not within the lines of a variance.
But it'd still be within the 15 feet, though, if I butted up to the pool.
Well, how big is your pool?
24-foot round, no?
24, I think.
Yeah, you would be,
Right, but the side yard is where so the lower portion, kind of where that 250 is wrote on there, was where the variance is being requested.
right, that's your side yard.
You're saying
So that-
turn your
Turn
deck
it.
completely to the
So like where it says pool site?
north side
To the back.
or the back?
Your deck can swap all the way around.
I
Your deck
maybe
can
if I just
move. So your deck you're proposing it right here, but it can shift all the way around.
Right, so
And
this-
you could build it up the
Right,
elevation.
But here would still be the
Not if you do it
variance.
this way.
So you're talking going in front of the house then?
Well,
Turn
and
it.
this is the back of your house.
Yep, I'm sorry. I called
Okay.
that because yeah. I
Because
know,
the
I'm
golf
sorry.
course is over here,
Yeah.
so.
We can't have a pool in the front yard, we're
Right,
sorry.
yeah. It's gonna work in the
You need
garage.
another variance.
Yeah, so I mean, if it's over here, so my father-in-law, and eventually the kids will move downstairs, it's just all gonna come, like all their windows are right there, so it's just gonna see deck. Like you look out your window, it's just gonna be deck and railing, is the only thing you're gonna be able to see.
Okay.
Compared to it here where it's out of the way and.
I'm sorry, do you mind just speaking
Oh,
in
sorry,
your mic?
sorry.
I'm sorry, I thought it would have caught you,
Oh.
like caught off the camera.
Yeah, so, sorry, at the drawing there where I'm proposing it is unused. I mean, there's a basement storage window there, so it's not really impeding anything. Because like I said, I've brought 30 loads of dirt in and I don't really have much yard at all. On the other picture where you see it's darker is all the area that I've reseeded. And after that, it's all hillside. So I've, for how much 30 truckloads of dirt cost me, it really didn't buy me a lot of square footage.
Okay. It was just, a thought that, I just
Yeah,
have,
I mean,
it doesn't
we,
exist, so we have the opportunity right now to make it
Right.
code compliant.
sure.
So that's where I'm at this point.
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, no, we talked about trying to put it on the other side, but then the sewer lines are over there. And then when it's right in front of the house, you would just walk out to it. There wouldn't be any way around it. It would just block the rear of the house, not the front. Sorry.
Since we've got this built-in delay, I send it to the county because it's on a state road.
Mhm.
Gives you a chance to see if you can figure out a way that you'd be satisfied sliding the pool over, or I don't know what it would take to make it work for you, but
Yeah, because just there, it gave me
if you
a,
could give us something,
yeah, it gave me a decent
it'd be
area
in your best
between
interest.
the house where I could still, kind of do some landscaping and maintain it instead of, just having it right on top and, just have it turn into like mud and junk on the side. I could probably scale it down a couple of feet, because I also have to do, where I was looking to get the stairs, I also have to get the stairs from, the second level to probably halfway down, 4.5 feet. So I gotta figure in the run and all that stuff. But I could probably move in some, kind of how much, I know there's, because really, it's the best place I can put it to make it look finished and decent without really being an eyesore. I could probably make the deck a little bit smaller with no area on the side, which would probably eat up a couple feet there.
Oh, now you're working on it already.
We don't really need an answer tonight, because you're going to
Okay.
come back and present it again, because we have to wait to see what the county says.
Sure.
And we need to listen to what anyone else has
Okay.
to say about it. So you can go back to the drawing board and do the
Okay.
best you can do.
Yeah, I still have the pins are still in the ground. I never removed them. We've been there for 6 years. So I should still have a pin where I could run a line and probably also try and get you a more accurate measurement.
We definitely need an
It
accurate.
should be,
Especially if it made it a little bigger.
right. Yeah, okay. All right.
Does anybody else have anything to say for or against this application?
Thank you.
Yep.
Hi, I'm Lisa Labarge, and I live at 1431 State Route 444, which is the property this variance, if granted, would negatively impact. I have huge stocks of documents for you guys.
So you're up the hill, the next house?
Yeah, I'm right over, yeah, I'm right next to him. I'm the property that this would affect. You have to go through these now because I'm going to walk through. So, I've done a lot of research on this, and an applicant for a variance has to prove, one, that because of some peculiar characteristic of their land, it would be especially difficult to make reasonable use of the property in conformance with all applicable zoning regulations, which in this case is 15 feet from my property without a variance. And the second thing is that the variance, oops. don't know what that is, but anyway, that the variance would not have a significantly detrimental effect on the overall zoning plan on the neighborhood. So, one, there is no peculiar characteristic of their land which would make it especially difficult to make reasonable use of their property. In fact, in his application, Chris Barber wrote that there is another place that he can put this. Okay, and the variance, the second point, the variance would have a detrimental effect on my property. And having a deck and an above-ground pool for 50 feet right at my property line does not match the character of the neighborhood. So I'm going to get to this stack of evidence, but as I go through this, there's a 5-factor test that's used when an owner's requesting a zoning variance. So my first has to do with the first factor in the test, and that's an undesirable change will be produced in the character of the neighborhood, or a detriment to nearby properties will be created by granting the variance. So the first page, I have an expert letter from a broker and realtor, actually one realtor of the year, Jeff Schofield, and it reads, in response to my reviewing your property and your neighbor's property at 1425 State Route 444, I would conclude the following. In the evaluation of the possible installation of an above-ground pool 5 feet from your property line, I would have to expect that the proximity to your property line would definitely be a detriment to the value of your home on a resale. I would also ascertain that by the neighbors having an above-ground pool in the dead center of their yard would also serve to reduce the desirability of your home to future home buyers, hence would result in a lower sale price. This would not be as much as if it were right on top of your property line, but still a devaluation. People on your street pay a bit of a premium for the view, and having an obstruction like a pool or outbuilding decreases that desirability. So I'm still on the first point. And I wrote here, an above-ground pool and deck facing my property close to my property line does not match the character of the neighborhood and would be a detriment to my property value, enjoyment, and my view. The other properties that abut the golf course right where my house is located are spaced, and the neighbors have privacy. Nobody is building anywhere near their neighbors' property lines that I know of and can see. However, the Barbers, I'm not sure who flagged the property. Who staked?
When I applied for the variance, that's why the sign's there.
No, who flagged it, though? Who flagged? Yeah,
That's for the dog training.
The puppy, we got a puppy.
that's for the dog training.
As a puppy, yeah.
Okay, I thought it was property lines staking the,
That's a
okay.
puppy training.
Okay, so I thought that was property lines. But it doesn't affect this anyway. So, okay. Okay. So,
Those pink marks she thought was the dog fence.
I thought that they were stake lines and that they built over my property on the drive, on both areas abutting this proposed variance, that they already built over my property line. If that's not the case, it's right there, all this stuff right on my property, right there already. So, where they were requesting to build 4 feet from my property line, I don't believe that's 4 feet from my property line. Okay, and they already have next to that, to the immediate right of where they're requesting the variance, there's a huge rectangular enclosure for a gazebo and playground. That's huge. That's my whole, huge amount of my property line. And then this proposal adds another 50 feet to my property line, where nobody in this neighborhood nobody near me has that. Okay, so, okay, also the proposed area, my point of that, this area that he proposed according to specs, which I also have some questions about the specs, but it's 50 feet along my property line, and he's already on my property, here's 50 feet on my property line, he's already on my, right here, and then he's all up on me in a row. The proposed area where they want to build the deck and install an above-ground pool is close to my bedroom. Okay, and it's going to create a lot of noise coming into my bedroom. It will also ruin the private enjoyment of using my deck. Because where they're wanting to build, like right now, I'm going to walk out and it's right there, right in my direct view when I walk out. Right there is an above-ground pool and a deck. Okay, so, and I wrote, it will ruin the private enjoyment of using my deck, which is primarily why I bought my house, for the view, space, and privacy, which have a lot to do with the values of the homes near me in general. So the second thing on the 5-part test is that the benefits sought by the applicant can be achieved by some method feasible for the applicant to pursue, other than the variance. In his application, and I put that in the stack of documents, this is not the only place that this can go. The standard, and also the standard of approval for a dimensional variance is practical difficulty, which the courts have defined to mean strict compliance is unnecessarily burdensome. But it's not unnecessarily burdensome for the Barbers to not be able to install an above-ground pool and deck facing my property for 50 feet, for 50 feet long, where they already built stuff right there. Number 3 on the 5-factor test is the requested area of the variance substantial? Yes, 50 feet on my property line is substantial. And like I said, there's already something right there as well. So it's like,
You refer to 50 feet on your property line.
okay, because.
What is that?
Okay, I'll go to that page. If you look at the, you could put that back, okay. You see the page where you were referencing his diagram, that you were unsure of how the stairs were and everything, where he shows a 24-foot pool.
Yes, it's a handwritten sketch.
Right, and I had the
Okay.
same questions about the stairs too, because next to it, you see it says 12 feet, and if you do like a pro rata breakdown of that compared to the sketch, I would say that the stairs are 10 feet or 9 feet. And then, all these numbers, I don't know that they would even bring him to where they are saying it would come to for a 4-foot variance. Okay. So so on this, you were saying, how do I get that 50 feet? So if you look at that sketch, it's 36 feet long, okay? And then you have to take whatever amount of footage the pool has that adds to it, because see, the pool extends out further. Can't tell by the picture really, it looks like it's a little more than half over, but let's say it was half. That's 12 and 36, but it looks more like 14 and 36, so that would be 50 feet at a stretch right there. Okay, so yeah, the proposed requested area of the variance is substantial, and they already have a huge amount of obstructing my view, where they already built right either on or over my property line. Number 4, the proposed variance will have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood or district. There's already been drainage issues there, where they're requesting to build, and I am concerned building there could cause more draining issues that could negatively impact my property. I know that the previous neighbor had issues with water, coming into his house right there and in that location. And number 5 is if the alleged difficulty was self-created. So now I'm going to just go over the documents I submitted. I already went over the first one. Okay, I actually thought that those were property flags. I thought that someone came out and flagged the property, because when I spoke to the town code enforcement officer, I said, where he's saying the property line is doesn't match what I'm seeing. And I said, how could you ask to be building something and not prove exactly where you're going? And he said that, well, you know, when people ask for a permit or a variance, that a survey is ordered and you know exactly where they're going. And then the code enforcement officer goes out, checks that, makes sure everything matches up. That had not happened. I talked to him about that, and he said, I said, why did that not happen? He said, I guess it slipped through the cracks. So when I saw all your puppy flags, I thought he ran out, I thought he went out and had it staked, but I was wrong. But I just thought that because I said, why wasn't that done here? And I also had a concern about the application itself, that if I reviewed it, I would have found a lot of issues with it. I know that they did address some issues, like that there was no measurements provided or something like that, and then they came back and gave the measurements, but. So the second picture, that just shows, I thought it was property lines. So if you're looking at it now, you just can see that they've built this humongous structure, right? So look at this huge structure that they built down my line, and now they want to go right next to it and build 50 feet. That's,
So these two first pictures are the applicant's backyard?
yes, yes. That to the left shows, okay.
About the same thing.
No, I did that because I marked the flag. I have, the first page is the same as the second page, but you have to strain to see the flags, so I marked them, but I didn't want to come in with a document that had markings on them, because then how is there proof of what was under the markings? And that's why I did that. But anyway, that's not relevant for the actual flagging of it now, but you can see how huge the amount of space is that they went on the border, and now they want to go more. Just my whole property line, except for the very bottom, but I think they're moving downward too. So, okay, so then,
Can I ask you a couple questions while you're saying that?
yeah, sure,
Isn't your deck elevated up in the air?
yes.
So you're saying you can't see over this, but in the pictures, I can see all the way down, all through.
No, I don't mean it that way. I mean that the character of the neighborhood, when I moved in, it's on a hill, and then there's the golf course.
Yep, I know how.
So, yeah, when I moved in, everything, the neighbors kept their yards all free and open. So everywhere you looked, it's like this beautiful open space. And in fact, when I moved in there, I even asked about that, if there were certain different laws that applied to that area, because I didn't know if I would be able to build where I can build or anything like that. But anyway, now it's not like that. It used to be like that, where it was all open and beautiful, but now I walk out and I'm right in my vision line is the gazebo and the play yard, that huge rectangular enclosure, and now to the left, and then to the left of it would be their above-ground pool and their deck.
There's two more pictures that are about the same thing.
Right,
They show something different?
No, I gave one original and one marked picture for 6 pictures in a row.
Okay.
So that you could see that I was giving evidence, that it's not just my word. If I marked over flags and didn't show you the original, then that wouldn't hold up. The net past these photos is the notice I got for a 5-foot variance, which doesn't match the application. There's a question as to the measurements period in the applications, but what was in the application was 4 feet. And that's if that even is 4 feet, but it didn't match this.
The next picture is a boat.
Oh, that's because where the flags were, it came over, and I thought that somebody came and marked the property lines. Then also, just when you look at this picture, it's towards the end. This is what they submit, this got submitted with the application. when you turn it, to face my property, like this, you can see right here, this whole big thing. So then imagine right next to it, all going down the line. That's what it ends up if that variance goes through. So. And, and I also had a lot of concerns about the sketch. I had in my notes the same thing that you brought up, that I didn't think that it matched. I would want to have proof of exactly where everything is. But even so, I am opposed to any variance, because I do think it is going to negatively impact my property, and nobody else's property's right, that's not going on there.
I think you've made your point. They do have right to use their own property, so there's that, and that's from one end of the town to the other. If a person moves in, it's the only place, and then some more places get built, doesn't look the same, and don't like it, but
Yes, I totally agree with you, but a variance has to go through that 5-factor test, and it's
Yeah.
not a legal right. It's not a legal right. So
It has to
that's
go
why I
through
came to contest it.
yeah, understand.
So that's it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Okay. Good job.
Thank you.
Now you gotta do a good job. To the applicant. So this will go to the county. You're gonna do some more work.
Yeah, hopefully I can get the, oh, sorry, do you want me to?
Yes, please come up.
Yeah, I'll get the surveyor out so I can get the lines run. I can find the pins, because the pins were there when I moved in, I just pushed them down. So I have an idea of where they are.
It is an example, the applicant before put a string right on the line. We haven't looked at it. I guess, I don't know, I did. Did anybody else go look?
I looked at it.
So we had a good reference to where the
Yeah,
lot
so
line
I
was.
staked out where it runs the 25.2 from the garage. I staked that one out, and I know where the top one is. It's just the bottom one is buried in all the tall grass.
Same thing
So
with my house.
I got a friend with a metal detector. He was gonna try and come over, but he had to take his mom to surgery, so didn't work out. But I figured actually having a real survey person with a modern survey would be more beneficial.
It
Yeah.
it would have been quite a stretch to get the pool in finished condition this summer.
Yeah, like I said,
The length
we,
of the summer that there is anyway, so it isn't like it's in the spring and you're
correct.
waiting for the,
Yeah, it was kind of
Weather.
a spur of the moment idea by the father-in-law.
oh,
So he wanted to do something for the grandkids, and then it was kind of on mom and dad to make it work. So
yeah,
that's where we're at now. So his heart was in the right place, but the back work's coming to dad. So I'll get the survey done. I'll get some more accurate measurements. It should be further away. I was just trying to go more conservative, I guess, just to be on the safe side.
Yeah.
But I do believe it's further away than what this one shows, the one that you guys have. So I spoke to her before about where the measurement was for the 25.2, and that's where I put the stake out, and because originally she thought the driveway was on hers, so I measured it out. She was there with me, read the tape measure, and agreed that the driveway wasn't on hers. I was past, or within my 25.2.
yeah.
So, and that line kind of runs all the way down the hill, so the line on the overhead is further over to the right towards her property.
And this pool is, what you're projecting right here, is going where the playground area is? And the
Correct,
deck
so I have to
will be-
do some shuffling.
Okay.
So the playground's gonna go down to kind of where the gazebo is. And the gazebo part, I'd like to move on top of the deck, just to have a little shade from the sun.
I'm just gonna throw this out here. These pictures from Encore aren't always the most accurate. So I know she's thinking that it's
Correct.
closer, but they're not always the most accurate from the Ontario County Encore website.
Yeah, when she showed it to me, I
Yeah, these
did
aren't
the,
exactly, I mean, it's
Yeah.
close, but this isn't right.
yeah, it's definitely a few feet.
Yeah.
And she agreed with the measurement, so I mean, there
I'm
wasn't
just saying
really a,
This isn't necessarily
don't
the
put
best.
faith into it.
Yeah.
I know. I know. Yeah.
Does anybody else have a comment?
Just that, when the time
I can't hear you from it back there. I'm sorry.
just so that when the time comes to make a decision, we trust your judgment. Whatever you guys decide is fine with us,
I'm the trustee of the land that it backs up to for the golf course.
the golf course.
Jacqueline Midlum and my brother Jay.
Okay.
So we both came to let you know, we do trust your judgment and know that it won't
Right.
affect the golf course.
What property do you represent? I didn't quite understand that.
Victor Hills.
Oh,
Golf course.
in the, from the back line.
Right.
Yes,
On.
the 12th
Oh,
hole.
yeah.
the Green, yeah. It
Yeah.
backs up to that and they wanted to go
Yeah.
instead of 15.5.
On the
long-
side,
Uh,
not on the back, on the
No,
side.
on the south, the 12th hole. Yeah. So we're okay with that, as long as it doesn't go any further.
Okay, well, that
Don't
was,
affect drainage, don't let the pool drain into the green. $25,000 later, not a good idea. But, you know, like he said, my brother Jay said, trust your judgment on our end.
Right.
We have enough to
Whatever
do
you
on
guys
the other
decide.
ends. Thank you.
Thank you.
yep, thank you. Yes? More?
I'd like to respond to something Chris Barber just said. He showed me one specific part on his driveway, and the way that the driveway is, that doesn't mean that the whole driveway is where it should be. That's not confirmed. So,
A circular driveway?
no, it's like this, but he built over this way, and that doesn't mean that he built exactly on the, so, you know, I feel that, an actual survey with flags and the code enforcement officer coming out, hopefully way before the next meeting, so I have documentation of whatever they submit before then. And that I want to see absolute concrete numbers where I'm not relying on anybody's goodwill. I want to see it marked out, exact, not willy-nilly, I mean exact flags, and I want it marked, like, okay, here's 4 feet, here's where I'm going, all this. And in that diagram, the stairs, I mean, if he was planning on staying there, it doesn't match up. It looks like it has to be 9 or 10 feet from, it doesn't match up there, but there's just a lot of, I think things have to be done with exact precision. This isn't like a, or wherever it
Fair
lands up.
enough.
And I do feel that it would negatively impact my property value and my use of my property in general with it. It can't go without a variance to the side of my house. There's no room for it. Unless they were to just like take just the pool and put it back there and move the whole deck. I'm not sure about that either. But even if that was done, I would want to see the exact measurements, you know, proven to me. Yeah, so that's it. Thank you.
Okay. Well, that ought to about cover it. Anybody else? That ought to conclude the public meeting. Has anybody got anything to say before we leave? I'll make here for a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All in favor?
All in favor, yes. Implied, I guess.
Thank you. So you'll come back on the 9th, it's the 19th?
Yes, the 19th.
The 19th, please, okay? Yes. Mhm. Yeah, thank you. I can't hear you.
We get notified for that county one?
You don't have to go